Hello world, we are back with the Forgotten City. I just found out that you can actually talk to the priestess to tell her to speed up the election. So, yeah, let's not wait. I'm gonna go ahead and run and load up the save and see what we can do now. God damn. So fucking stupid.
On your best behavior, I trust?
Ave again. Did you find what you need?
Hey, Equitia, or whatever your name is.
It must be completed
Let's talk about the
by
election.
dusk, just the same as it'll be between senti. Why do you ask?
Okay, can we start the election now?
As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason.
Holding it early may prevent conflict between the voters.
Yes. I have overheard some rather unpleasant arguments. The last thing we need here is additional conflict. Very well. I'll get things started right away. Citizens, it is time. Let us meet to elect our magistrate.
Election starting.
I can't believe it took me this long to figure it out. Fuck. I'm an idiot. Okay, settings. Video. Where we can leave it borderless. Who cares? It does look kind of blurry though. Can I switch to full screen? It does feel somewhat crisper in full screen. I don't know. I'll fill in here.
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are...
All right, come on. Let's go.
Sentius Imperiosus and late nominee Gallus Galerius Helva. Marcus Malleolus Gurges withdrew his candidacy earlier today. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Galerius. He saved the life of my dear friend Fabia.
Dacius.
Sentius.
Virgil.
The man who put a stop to the threats I've been receiving. Galerius.
Ulpius.
Galerius, the man who saved my life.
Rufius.
The man who treated my rheumatism. Galerius.
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Gallus Galerius Helva.
What?
It has been decided. Magistrate Galerius, would you like to make a brief address?
Speech! Speech!
I just want to say, this isn't something I ever wanted. Now that you've put your trust in me, I'm going to do everything I can not to let you down. I'll need some time to put together a list of the changes I want to make around here. But I promise you, there will be changes. My first order is that Dooley is to be freed. Horatius, release him from his cell immediately. Please. Wait, do I need to say please? I suppose not.
It doesn't hurt.
That's it. You can all get on with your day. Nothing else to see here. Move along.
Okay, now we just gotta get the plaque.
Fortune smiles on you today, Julius. Magistrate Galerius here has ordered your release.
You're going to let me out of here?
I'm sorry it took so long, my friend. And it wouldn't have happened at all if it wasn't for a newcomer. So be sure to offer your thanks when you can.
I will. I will. Thank you, Galerius. I'm so happy.
I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Why don't you go to the baths? Then tell Georgius I said you could have some new clothes. Then I want you to go home and rest. I'll speak with you soon, Dooley.
Hello? I'm Dooley. Magistrate Galerius said I should thank the newcomer. Are you the newcomer?
Yep, that's me.
Oh, it is you. Then, thank you. You're a big helper. I was locked up, but they let me out again. I'm so happy.
You're welcome.
You can have my shiny plaque if you want, and maybe you can help me find my treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after me, and he said he always would. But then he died. But before that, he told me if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious.
What was it?
He gave me a key to the cisterns and told me to keep it safe. He said there's something very precious way up high. Please help me find it. Please. I had to keep it a secret until I found someone I could trust.
Alright, I'll help you.
Oh, thank you. Here's the key.
Key to the upper cistern.
I hope you find it. In the cisterns, way up high, Hannibal said. Oh, look over there. Something shining. Is it treasure? Maybe it is treasure. I could see it from myself.
Greek plaque?
So pretty. And it's just lying out here in the open. Maybe nobody wants it anymore.
Okay.
Maybe no one will mind if I just take it.
Don't you dare.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Oh, damn it, Dooley. God damn it. So Dooley does immediately steal something as soon as he gets out. Okay.
Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening.
Okay.
Yulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that.
Okay. Okay.
Poor Virgil. Poor Rufius too, I guess. All right, got it. All right, let me see. Stop Fabia.
Okay. We don't need to do the election over again, so... there.
I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
Why is Secret Admirer still stuck here? Oh, while he's doing that, then we'll do Heart of Gold. What the fuck? Why is Steel Series want to install fucking update now?
On your best behavior, I trust?
Let's see, Upper Cistern.
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
Where is the Upper Cistern? It's not guiding me anymore. I don't know where the Upper Cistern is. I know where the Lower Cistern is.
Ugh, this place has become a thoroughfare.
I guess we'll just have to explore a little bit more.
On your best behavior, I trust?
Was a cistern back here? Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So we unlock the path to the first ending we did, which is ending 2. Alright. Okay, I was wondering why it was completely black. Okay, let's see if Galeris is done with his task for now. Because I want to finish up that stupid secret admirer thing. It won't disappear.
Citizen.
See, Galera should have already finished his errands though, right?
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius.
a fellow traveler from a far
A golden bow, just like Apollo and Diana's.
Citizen.
Galeris, where'd you go? He wouldn't be up there, right? He has no reason to be up there. He has no reason to be here. We already took care of the assassin. He would usually be out down here, right? Maybe he's in the slums right now or something. Oh, here it is.
Salve again, friend. I went and... How is it? Here... Sisyphus, he was forcing... Actually, Tantalus was made... Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going... Anyway, so, I'll tell you... Oh, now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although... Oh, and if our conversations... I saw you slide down that rope before, and... Oh! Anyway... Well, it's too... Do you think...
I already have an identical flower.
Really? You already have it? I picked it up in a previous loop, I suppose. It's gonna take me a while to get my head around that. This is going to make her so happy. Equitia, I mean. Now I just have to figure out how to give it to her. What I really want to do is walk up to her, give her the flower, and confess I've been madly in love with her since the moment we met. But on the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that the consequences could be... terrible. You mean, aside from her execution? You see, Equitia is a Vestal priestess.
Yeah, we know about this.
I don't know what to do.
I think you should go for it. Yeah. Fuck it. It's not like... I mean, I want to see what happens. Not that I don't think this is going to be canon.
Now that I hear you say that out loud, I hear how crazy it is. I think maybe I need to be a bit more cautious. What I need is a go-between. Someone who can tell her how I feel and find out how she feels without risking her life. What do you say? Do you think you could help me one more time?
All right.
Wonderful! Now, all I need you to do is give her the flower and tell her it's from a secret admirer. Tell her I'll keep my distance and that I just want her to know that she's loved.
That's corny, but all right, I'll do it.
Thank you. Come back as quick as you can and tell me what she says.
Hey.
A new face.
Someone wanted to give you this flower.
Oh, how lovely. It just happens to be my favorite, too. Who do I have to thank for this?
I'm supposed to tell you it's from your secret admirer and that they'll keep their distance. They just want you to know you're loved.
I see. So, it's from Galerius, then?
You know already?
Of course I do. I think everyone in the city knows. That man is a wonderful human being, and my favorite person in the world. But he is the least subtle secret admirer you could imagine. The way he looks at me with those puppy dog eyes. Plus, he's been trying for weeks to get his hands on this flower. He went to so much effort, too. Suspending that rope above the lake, inventing that pulley device all on his own. He'd just stand there each morning, looking at the flower, trying to summon the courage to seize it. Oh, my heart.
I'm pretty sure climbing it would have been a lot easier than the pulley system. Alright, so what should I tell him?
Tell that adorable oaf that my Vestal's vow of chastity ends once I turn 36. So if we ever make it out of here, and he doesn't mind waiting a few years, then tell him I love him too.
I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that.
I hope so. See you again soon, I hope.
You only have to be chased until 36? That's not too bad. I'm 29 and I'm you know what? I said too much already. What's 7 more years for me, huh?
Salve again, my Sisyphean friend. Now, what's on your mind?
I delivered a flower.
Thanks. What did she say?
She knew it was from you. She asked me to tell you that once she turns 36, she's allowed to marry. And that she loves you too.
Venus, that is the best news I've ever heard in my life. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea how happy you've made me. I wish there was something I could do to thank you properly, but I don't have much to offer
Matchmaker.
you. All I can
The
do is
description
tell
for
you where
matchmaker
there's a secret
achievement is
stash of
wrong. It says
coins
use photo
you might be
mode.
interested in.
Yeah. I'm listening.
In the rock tunnel near the stairs, there's a little doorway set into the rock. Inside, if you look carefully, you can see a chest. Unfortunately, one of those golden huntress statues is blocking the path, and I'm not game to move it. If you can figure out how to get past it, I reckon there might be a small fortune waiting for you. I hope that helps in some way.
I'll be going now.
All right, friend. Hope you find a way to break that cycle you're in.
Okay. Alright. Oh yeah, there was that door we couldn't open. I know you want me to talk to the priestess because I'm pretty much ready to get the plaques in order. But hold up.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Maybe I can shoot. That doesn't help. Now I really want to know. How am I supposed to move the statue out of the way? Normally I would just kick it. Alright, since we sort of lost our patience here, yeah, I can't think of anything. Let me go ahead and look this one up also. I have to switch my splash screen though because I have to capture my monitor. Okay. Forgotten City. Move statue. Oh, the only way you get to it is after the golden rule is broken. Oh, that... Okay, of course. I see it now. I'm sure there's an achievement in it for me. In which case, let's go ahead and break a rule. Okay. I'm sorry.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Hello, Sentius. There we go. Alright, hold on a second, guys. I'm gonna use Russian. I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Are there any more left?
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and what you're doing with that bow on your back?
Let's see, I need to take care of things urgently.
Sounds serious. I'm listening.
Just take care of all of them, really.
Oh no. Poor bird. Alright, let me see. What? I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
I should also tell him, hey, here's this flower you wanted. Okay. Okay, once we finish this one up, I'm going to look up all of the different all the remaining 2 endings, I think. Okay, good. So once you tell Galerius to do those things, the game automatically scripts the NPCs to be somewhere different so they don't get in your way. Kind of cheating, but yeah, good on them for doing that. Oh boy. Neat. Enter the Great Temple. Of course. Hey. Hades, Osiris, Pluto. Okay, so one's Greek, one's Roman, the other's Egyptian. I guess Nergal will be the oldest one then? Nergal, the fierce one, grant me an audience. Hades, Lord of many, grant me an audience. Osiris, Lord of silence, grant me an audience. Pluto, Father of riches, grant me an audience. I wonder if you just have to go through all of those or if Pluto was the right answer. Pluto, Father of riches, grant me an audience. Hades, Lord of many, grant me an audience. Oh, we have to go with the right one. Osiris, grant me an audience. Okay, Nergal, the fierce one, grant me an audience. Oh. This was not what I was expecting.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, As a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
What's your story?
My story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific. What do you wish to know?
You're a god?
It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey.
Why do you look and sound like a man?
My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords. Desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive.
May I see your true form?
No. Long ago, I swore to Persephone that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that.
Who's the woman on your left?
This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers too long.
What's that on your right?
That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by many names. Kumutubal to the Sumerians, Kirti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions.
Talk about something else?
As you wish.
What's this place?
It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago.
What's the wager you made?
That is a long story. One that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves. Your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished. But soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
Who are your kin?
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader, Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Proserpina.
Who built the city?
As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
How did you decide who comes here?
To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random.
Like a science experiment.
To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Proserpina's along with it.
How did humans learn about the underworld?
It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer, and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth.
Let's talk about something else.
Of course.
Are you responsible for the Golden Rule?
That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
Why turn people into gold?
That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold, and when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, the silent golden sentinels.
So you're responsible for destroying all these logs.
I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it.
Where did these golden bows come from?
When my kin departed, they left behind many relics, which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
Furries? Okay. What do you consider a sin?
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not?
It doesn't seem like you've been upholding it either.
Enough. You clearly know nothing.
How do you know when people sin?
I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
Is Proserpina connected to the statues in the same way?
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
No reason.
Then what an odd question.
I've seen some terrible things here that you didn't consider a sin. How can you let them happen?
Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example?
Suicide?
I've seen no such thing, but in any case, taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected by it. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others.
Seems like an extremely literal interpretation of the rule.
Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language.
If our language is full of ambiguity, doesn't that make the rule inherently subjective and unreliable?
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
No, of course not. Never mind.
Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked?
Price gouging for life-saving medicine?
The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined?
You wouldn't want someone else to demand an outrageous price for the medicine he needed if he was dying.
I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway.
You can't just know what he would expect. You're just speculating.
Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what another person would want if they found themselves in another situation.
Doesn't it make it inherently subjective and unreliable?
Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man.
And you think you know the minds of other people?
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
Of course not.
Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked?
See. Debt bondage?
You speak of the moneylender. How is that inconsistent with the rule?
He wouldn't want to be trapped in a 30-year labor contract because of a loan.
And he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. All he did was enforce the terms of a contract signed voluntarily by others.
The whole concept of debt bondage, like slavery, is unethical. It's illegal under international law where I'm from.
Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority, this is interesting. I'm curious, how do people escape poverty where you're from?
It's customary to take out a loan to pay for a house, and in some places pay for an education.
I see. And how long might it take such a person to repay their debt?
It depends, typically decades, sometimes their entire life.
I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different to a debt bondsman signing over his labor for 30 years.
It's not the same thing.
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all.
Yeah, never mind. See, experiments on the gold statues.
The midwife in the palace, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule?
She wouldn't want to be experimented on if she was gilded.
The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows, mere shapes of their former selves. They are forsaken. What happens to them is no concern of mine.
Seems like literal interpretation.
Applying this rule always requires us to Now tell me.
Abduction?
Abduction? You mean the magistrate imprisoning his daughter in the cistern, I take it. He did so because she sought to escape. A sin I take particularly seriously. Better that he stops her from escaping, albeit brutishly, than I have to wipe out this entire city to punish her. Wouldn't you agree?
I disagree with that.
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Now tell me.
It's no wonder people say the gods are cruel. This just shows how unreliable and subjective your moral code is. You're no better at judging right from wrong than any human.
Do you honestly think you could do better?
No, but that's my point. Nobody's grasp of right and wrong is so perfect that they can be trusted with all this power. You become a tyrant.
I should strike you down for that.
And if you did, you'd be proving my point.
Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning?
Let's talk about something else.
Very well.
That's all the questions I had.
Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here?
How'd you not remember me? Come on, Karen. Hey. Maybe you're forgetting. Maybe you're getting forgetful in your old age.
You would have us believe that my servant merely forgot bringing you here.
I don't fucking know. Okay, I spoke my arrive here in about 2,000 years.
If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
We cannot know.
I was hoping you could tell me.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine has slumbered for 3,000 years.
Guess that means you don't know everything that goes on here.
Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek?
I'd like you to put an end to the Golden Rule.
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule?
If you're doing this for love, you should know that Proserpina doesn't love you. Let's see. This seems like the most reasonable one. The Golden Rule is corrupting the city and ensuring you'll never win the wager.
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
Okay, DC is price gouging.
True. I have witnessed him doing that.
Rufus becomes so paranoid that he's jumping at shadows, like Virgil's sexuality.
He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one.
Well, this has trapped people in debt bondage by convincing them that rebelling would break your law.
His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day.
That's all examples I can think of.
Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that.
Really? Approved? I said a lot of good reasons. I mean, how can you expect us to live without sin if you can't do it yourself?
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it?
Didn't you abduct Proserpina and imprison her here?
I am well aware of the story told by the Greeks and Romans of my so-called abduction. It is entirely unfair. My love was dying, and I intervened the only way I could to save her life. What would you have done?
But didn't she choose to die?
It was an act of rebellion against the others. She knew I would have to act to save her, and I did because I loved her. I love her still. Accordingly, I reject your argument.
Sounds like bullshit to me. You trapped people in the city against their will.
These people were all dead when my servant found them. I gave them a second chance at life. Would you prefer to have simply ceased to exist?
Maybe?
Then you still have the option to end your life should you wish, and you are no worse off than if I had not intervened. Accordingly, I reject your argument.
You've given terrible punishments to hundreds of people, some for minor sins, and some who committed no sins at all.
Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them.
If our positions were reversed, you wouldn't want me to punish you for the sins of other people.
Ah, but I am a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights?
No.
Of course not. Because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals.
Your kind and mine can't be so different, given that you're in love with one of us.
My love for her does not mean I am not superior, now that she is mortal.
That sounds arrogant. Perhaps you're not as different from humans as you think.
Bah! For a moment I thought you might have been building to a point. But I see now you are just a hubristic little creature.
Oh, if you're doing this for love, you should know that Proserpina doesn't love you.
Huh. I see what you're doing. You are trying to undermine the one thing keeping me anchored here. You are playing a dangerous game.
My apologies, I misspoke.
You have no idea how close you just came to eternal torment, mortal. You will need to do better than that. That is a very serious accusation, mortal. Everyone they... let me... Do you... Of course...
What makes your kind superior to mine?
Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine.
Why does wisdom and technology make you superior?
Because that is the source of our power over you.
So you think because you're not obliged to treat us fairly, because you're more powerful than us?
You could say that.
What was the Roman Stoic said? Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you?
My kin have no superiors.
But didn't you say Jupiter was your leader? There's hierarchy within your kin.
That is true. Go on.
So you're treating humans the way you would wish Jupiter to treat you?
Make your point, mortal.
I'm saying if you can't follow your own rule, how can you expect humans to?
Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no. The very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster?
I feel like this is the reasonable one. You're not a monster, you're a human. And you made a mistake.
Wait, what? What are you saying?
Humans make mistakes. It's in our nature.
You have spoken eloquently. And yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
Perhaps he made a mistake. I'm thinking. Perhaps he wanted you to demand the wager so Proserpina would be free from you.
Perhaps. But if that was so, surely I would have sensed his deception. How could I have been so blind for so long?
Perhaps you were blinded by your love for Proserpina. It's very human.
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the way Jern Lee for Elysium, neither she
Silver
nor
tongue.
your kind may ever ascend.
We just want to return to the world.
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Why?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Farewell, mortal.
Persuade the god of the underworld to abolish the golden rule. Main goal, completed Herculean task. Create time paradox. Point of origin talk now.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Now, Worf, I came in here to find you.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm Bill Cosby.
Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience.
Oh, you saw that?
And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
Sounds a bit far-fetched.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
I'm right behind you. Return to the river.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Good idea.
You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
I found him. He'll be here in a moment.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we've seen this
Why
line.
don't you tell me what you discovered?
I discovered you're not who you said you were. I remember seeing you 2,000 years ago.
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Are you really?
You can just call me Carol.
Yeah, we've seen
I
this
do
one.
not enjoy that
Okay. Well,
that
sure
you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role as the
I think we already went through that. Who are you really?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort. That you died, my...
Oh, okay, we have to go through a...
Most souls, ask yourself honestly.
I suppose not.
A wise decision. All you need to know is that you and Al died in possession of a sacred silver coin.
Pluto said the coins Al and I had were the last in existence. What does that mean for you?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
What's special about these coins?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans.
Okay, we've seen this.
A long time. My orders were simple.
Yes, Pluto mentioned that my coin was the last in existence. What does that mean for you?
It means
Okay.
I am now. There is.
Okay, can you turn us to the land of the living?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Alright, Karen. Ferry us home. One year later. Ooh, get an epilogue. Oh fuck, this means this is the canon ending, so we didn't do the other two endings first. We can run through those, hopefully. Hopefully the other two endings are really quick.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. After everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
He's probably talking about that etching of the dick in one of those rooms in the slums.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Galerius? What are you doing here?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You're with Equita now?
I know.
Equita now?
I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there.
Love that. Count me in. It was good seeing you again, Galeris.
Of course. There's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
Oh, hello.
Assemble as many people as possible in the museum, the Oracle. Oh. Does that mean we saved everyone?
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you.
Good to see you too, Equita.
So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us.
How's Livia?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself.
I'll do that. It was good seeing you again.
See you at the wedding, I hope.
Dooley.
Hello, I'm Dooley.
I remember who you are, Dooley.
Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live at Galerius and Equitia's house.
I have problems saying it too.
They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth.
I forget that too sometimes. Sorry you never found your treasure.
Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favourite thing.
I'm glad you're happy. It was good seeing you again, Dooley.
Bye-bye.
You're the Oracle, right?
Bill Cosby is fine.
Oh, of course. Sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation.
What are you doing yourself these days?
Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about.
Wait a second. So, when all these people spawned here, in this time, did they know English? Or did they have to learn English? Well, let's not think too much about it. Seeing the world with fresh eyes sounds wonderful.
I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
Whatever happened to Malleus and Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I think you're allowed to feel that way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Whatever happened to Ariella?
Ugh. Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently, he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
As lyrical, I foresee terrible disappointment in her future.
Really? Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
It was good seeing you again, Lilia.
You too. If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
I'll take you up on that.
I hope so.
Lucretia.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hey, Lucretia.
Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So...
What are you doing yourself these days?
I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time.
It's good to see you too, Lucy.
You too. Don't be a stranger.
Hey.
Horatius?
Hi there, I'm Horatius.
Hi, Horatius.
I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life. And reuniting Centilla with us as well. So, thank you.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot. But some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
Sorry you never got to see your girl again.
Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever.
Well said.
Thanks.
I actually don't know what the fuck that was about. Maybe we spoke with Horatius and that kind of ignored that line, but I don't remember anything about a girl with him. Whatever happened to your buddy Domitius?
He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC. So he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out. And his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
That's a shame.
Perhaps.
Well, it's good seeing you again.
And you. Farewell.
Hello.
I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming.
See you again, Cynthia.
Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere.
Alexa. I also like how they changed her name, like, dynamically as she said she had a new name. What happened to Sentius?
He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me.
He did once tell me he wanted to live forever.
Then I suppose he got his wish.
It's good seeing you again, Cynthia.
You too. See you around.
The Hermit Philosopher.
I take it you're the Oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
We've met before, though I wouldn't expect you to remember it.
We have? I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your Catabasis to thank for it.
What are you doing yourself these days?
I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again.
Good to see you again.
My sincere thanks once again.
Greetings. You must be the legendary Oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally
Did you
make
say
your
Oracle?
I am Georgius.
I guess that's how you pronounce it. Good to see you too, Georgius.
I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that, I am most grateful.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
Consider me there. It's good seeing you again.
You too, my friend.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia.
The hell's with that dress? Hi, Fabia.
I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure.
You're welcome.
I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive.
Pretty great, yeah. Sounds like a life well spent.
Oh, it really is.
It's good seeing you.
You too.
Some soiree, innit? Ah, hello at last. You must be the Oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Dacius.
Hi, Dacius.
Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you.
No need to thank me. It was entirely unintended.
Such acerbic wit. I love it.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the Oracle and Future Seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend?
That wouldn't help you even if I could.
Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer.
Broadcast television is going to be the next big thing.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm going to make a bloody fortune.
I'll be going now.
Of course, don't let me keep you. Thanks again for the tips, my friend.
Good evening.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
You must be really happy about this Christianity thing and how it took off, right? Nice to see you too, Octavia.
I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counselor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him.
Sounds like a noble cause. Good on you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Did we really convince Ulpius to... Yeah, we just freed him. That was it. It was good to see you again, Octavia.
And you. Oh, and I hope this isn't too forward, but some of us are going out for a drink after this, if you'd like to join us.
Sounds good, I'm in.
Wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Greetings.
Good to see you doing well, Livia.
Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium.
I wouldn't say that. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, at least until I'm well enough to be independent again.
Read any good poems lately?
Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence.
Well said. Just wait until you get to Tupac and Biggie. Yeah, those are great poets. It's good to see you again.
And you. Farewell, friend.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Thanks, Kabosh.
You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
Sounds like you've earned it.
Indeed.
It's good seeing you again.
Thank you, Oracle.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you too, Rufius.
I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
It's good seeing you again.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
Virgil. Still rockin' blue, huh?
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Good to see you, Virgil.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
It's good seeing you again.
You too. As Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I may just take you up on that.
Hello there.
Hi, Scintilla.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name.
I heard that before.
After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Sounds like he got what he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
I just might do that. It's good seeing you again,
Thanks.
Gabrielle.
You too.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius.
Good to see you too, Ulpius.
I understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake, I'll be forever in your debt.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope? and missed out on all of this. So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier.
I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you.
It's good to see you too.
You too.
How's everyone? So according to the achievement, I saved everyone who is worth saving, so good on me. I wonder if you manually saved everyone. Yeah, the dialogue will be different, because it's totally possible to manually save everyone instead of making Galeris do everything, I think.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
I recognize that voice.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
You're whispering to me all along?
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
You did what you could, thank you. You created a time loop?
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier, he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We are all fortunate you came along when you did.
What became of Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
A very similar line to pretty much what anyone says about their ex. What became of Karen?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was.
You mean that came from
I'd
Amazon?
be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will. One day.
It was nice meeting you.
And you. Although it feels like I've known you forever. And one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Of course.
Good. Because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld in return, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
I'm wearing jeans in the statue? Oh, God. Ending 404. If you... I don't know, it's just like, when you see a statue, you don't expect it to be wearing jeans, okay? It just doesn't look right. There's just something very unrefined about that look. Ending 4. So we unlocked half of the endings. Okay. It's pretty late here, so I think we'll have to call it here. I was trying to do the other 2 endings first, but I didn't really know which direction to go. So, unfortunately, we can't do that here. Should I? I'm not sure. I'm debating whether or not I actually want to do the other 2 endings at this point, because it's kind of difficult to go back to it now that I've seen the canon full ending. Assuming they're not too difficult to get to, I might try them some other time later this week. But otherwise, let's make this the canon credit sequence for me then. I'll talk right now about my thoughts on this game. It's fantastic. The writing is top-notch, very expertly crafted. The only plot convenience they included was the fact that the items respawn when you respawn yourself, which is honestly just more there for convenience. I understand that. Like, just to specify exactly what I meant by that is, when you steal the cure for the poison, it stays with you even when you hand it off to Galeris. So that way you don't have to steal it again to do it the next time you go through a loop. And similarly, the same thing applies to, I think that was the only thing. Yeah, because the rheumatism or whatever it was, you just need to know the answer. Same goes for, saving Ulpius. All you have to do is be able to tell Melis, the other dude, that that you knew who he was, and you know what I mean, basically. But that was the one thing that stuck out. Oh yeah, the flower. The flower also sticks with you after you hand it off to Galeris. So it's fine. I'm not gonna get to be too much of a stickler for that in the game, because otherwise it's been really annoying to go through all of that. Oh, I have to make sure I do this first, so that way on the next sleep I have this available to me. It's just like, the game said, you know what, we get it. We'll put it here in your inventory permanently to take care of that. So it was a compromise, and I understand why they did it, and I totally accept that. I feel like a real idiot for not knowing that you could skip all the way to the election through the dialogue choices. I should have known. It's just like, Equita, she was like one of the first people I spoke to, so I hardly remember that part of the conversation. Man. It is what it is. Yeah, thankfully I don't think we wasted too much time sitting around doing nothing in the game. I was actually this close to just leaving the game running in the background while I did something else, but turns out when you all tab out of the game it pauses, so that was an option. So I was just fumbling around trying to figure out how the hell to make the election happen faster. They really should have included some sort of tip in the quest that says, oh, if you want to get the election done with, you should just talk to her. Maybe it was there and I just didn't read it. That's entirely possible. I'm not that smart. What else should I say? I guess it would have been nice if there actually was a time, a waiting feature in the game, though. Because, that way you get to see how the fucking environment changes as the time moves forward. Obviously with being able to, skip to the election, it's not that big of a deal, but it would have been nice to have it anyways as a feature. Alright, I think that's the end of the credits then. Does it not automatically fade out? Okay. Guess not then. A message from developers. We hope you enjoyed the Forgotten City. We'd love to make it even better games in the future, and you can help us by recommending the Forgotten City to a friend or writing a review. The more people play our game, the more we can level up. If you'd like to be the first, to the next project, blah blah blah. Cool. But yeah, that was an excellent game, very well written. Had I known how to pace myself better, they probably wouldn't a less frustrating experience. There was just a few, outside of like having, it was totally my fault having to wait for the election. Outside of that, otherwise, I think the game was great. So honestly, yeah, it's fantastic the way it is. Maybe include a tooltip about how to start the election sooner. Maybe. Otherwise, yeah, I can't name too many flaws with it. Again, there was that one, if you're like really a stickler about time travel, you might say something about the inventory duplicating itself, but that's just nonsense, really. It's just like you already know how to do it. No point having you do it over again. What else is there to say? Nothing else. Fantastically written game. Glad I played through it. It's available on Game Pass. If you watched this entire video, though, you've pretty much seen all of it, except for those two endings that I haven't gotten to yet. I haven't decided whether or not if I actually want to play through those now at this point, because we've seen everything in the game. We've seen almost everything in the game. But there are a couple more achievements available, I think, right? So yeah, we might do that. Just for the achievements. We might do I don't know, but if I have the time, I'll do it on stream. And just as a small little bonus. Okay, but that is going to be it for this evening. For anyone who's watching, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all next time. Good night, everyone.